here. First things first, we are going viral. All right, check this out. CC, you wanted it. Ben Simmons shooting jumpers against actual NBA players. This is Austin Rivers and Devin Booker.
Yeah, Austin Rivers out there, Devin Booker out there, as Jenna mentioned. Ben Simmons pulling up.
Oh, come on.
Oh, okay, so here's the thing. See, you're going to be negative on this until we see him do it in the game, and I understand that. But when you watch a highlight like this, and I'm a Ben Simmons fan, it frustrates me because he clearly has some ability to shoot the basketball. And his refusal to do any of that during an NBA game is vexing because, listen, it's not the prettiest shot in the world, but it exists. Like, he clearly has the capability. We know he can do that. But to shoot jumpers, to pull up, and he just won't do it in the game. He's doing it in...
Because he don't have no confidence, Nick.
Right.
When he plays in these rec games, he shouldn't be able to dunk the basketball. He should never allow himself to dunk the basketball. Remove the dunk from his game.
Yeah.
That's all I was trained by basketball players. My brother trained me. He introduced me to people like Isaiah Thomas, Magic Johnson. That's the reason why. I have seen all these routines. I saw Ray Allen when he came to Miami with that shooting routine that he had. Like, I'm not just making this stuff because I don't have nothing better to do. This is all I have seen throughout my life. When I was a kid, the only reason why I didn't try to go to the NBA because I couldn't shoot the ball as good. So I know that. Like, forget it.
Miss me with that.
No, Jenna, I beg you to stop.
Miss me with that, sorry.
I just beg.
The show would be better if you missed the show.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I just thought maybe at this point.
If you told that to your girlfriends
2 hours in,
and everything, they'll get rid of you.
2 hours in, 2 years in, you ain't got it.
All right.
You thought today was going to be the day the light bulb went off?
Yes. Every day I think that's going to be the day, Nick.
No.
Big news out of Dallas. Ezekiel Elliott did not board the team plane to training camp yesterday. He does, however, have until this morning to report before officially becoming a holdout. Nick, how do you expect this to play out?
Man, I think Zeke's going to show up. I think I know it's in the team's best interest for him to show up. I don't know if it's in his best interest to show up, but is he willing to play this game of chicken with the Dallas Cowboys in this critical season? And is he willing, when Dak is yet to be paid, and Dak's showing up, obviously. Dak's only got 1 year left on his deal, and Dak's never made real money. Is he willing to not show up when Dak is? Those are the questions, and I guess we'll get the answer in a few hours.
You know, when you're in the NFL locker room, Nick, you know whose problem that is?
Dak's problem.
Oh, that's Dak's problem. That ain't my problem. We could be tight as can be. That could be my boy. But every man is in business for himself. Dallas Cowboys are in business for themselves. They getting ready to make Dak rich. They're going to make Amari Cooper rich. And Zeke, if he's smart, he's the best player on the team. He would stick to his guns. He should get his contract. I wouldn't be concerned about Dak and them. That ain't my fault he got drafted in the 3rd round. That ain't my fault Amari got traded. It ain't my fault. I need my money, and that's what Zeke is going to tell him.
All right, moving on to the Saints now. New Orleans wide receiver Michael Thomas. He also did not report to training camp yesterday. He and the Saints are in contract negotiations but have not agreed to terms yet. CC, are you surprised that Thomas wasn't at camp?
No, not surprised at all. They had a hard time getting Drew Brees signed. And you talking about the type of money. Mike might want $100 million for 5.
Yeah.
Okay? That's a lot of money for a wide receiver. He has earned it. It's his turn. He was not a high draft pick. He's exceeded the expectations. He's exceeded the expectation, and I've been watching him play since high school. Played high school in California, went to military school, then went to Ohio State. I never thought that he would be as good a wide receiver as he is. I was totally wrong. I thought he'd be a good wide receiver, have a good 8 to 10 year career. But, man, he is a star in the NFL, Nick.
This is the most reasonable and rational holdout imaginable. He's a player who's never made any money. He was a 2nd-round pick, scheduled to make $1 million this year.
How much has he made?
He's made, in 3 years, a total of $4 million. And by NFL standards, I should say,
right.
not any significant money. Since coming into the league, not only has he gotten better every year, but he started off good enough that over the last 3 years, he's top 6 in catches, touchdowns, and yards. This is the type of guy who gets paid in this league, and if he has forced there, he has forced there.
And even though he's not from New Orleans, Sean Payton and them won a hometown discount because that system
has helped him out.
All right, moving on to the Cleveland Browns. They opened up camp yesterday, and Odell loved every second of it. Shined, making some spectacular signature catches. Beckham said, quote, "I feel like I belong." See, what do you think? Was this a sort of a precursor of what's to come for Odell?
People always, they make up some stuff and they say, you know, a tight end is a quarterback's best friend. You know what a tight end's best friend is? When a guy is covered and I can throw him the ball and he can still make a catch. Because that's what you saw a lot yesterday. They're going to get great coverage, great practice reps. But, man, this is good for OBJ to be back out there, not trying to do interviews, play football. What he's great at, what he got his name for doing. It's exciting. They are very, very talented. This is not hype. I know we've talked about them a lot. They've lost a lot of games over the last 20 years. But this is the most talented Cleveland team that they've had there in 15 years.
Man, I was on Twitter yesterday, and it felt like every 15 minutes there was a different Odell highlight on my Twitter feed, and then a few minutes later, there's a different clip out of Giants camp of Daniel Jones knocking a cooler over with a pass. Then Sterling Shepard breaks his thumb, unfortunately. Then Odell does this. I'm like, oh, these poor Giant fans can't win for losing. Odell and the Browns are going to be excellent. We've said we both like Baker as a kind of dark horse MVP pick. I think Odell's going to be first-team All-Pro receiver for the first time in his career. So, listen, I think this is going to be a great year for Odell and the Browns.
All right, let's finish up with the Cardinals. First overall pick.
Eat that.
Kyler Murray started his first training camp yesterday. Kyler and new coach Cliff Kingsbury will try and bring a new-look, high-flying offense to the league. Murray was asked about this new offense and why he thinks it'll work in the NFL.
I don't see why everybody thinks it, it can't be successful. It's just like any other offense. It's an offense. We work at it, we practice it, and it's our job to execute it. If we don't, then it won't be successful. But if we do, like I said, I feel like, it works at the college level. I don't see why it couldn't work at the pro level. So it's our job to make people believe in that.
CC, do you trust that Kyler Murray and the Cardinals offense will be successful in the NFL?
Well, let me address something first as far as the reason why that system doesn't work in the pros. All right? The reason why it's so successful in college. But it wasn't so successful that Cliff Kingsbury didn't get fired.
Correct.
Okay, so it doesn't just dominate college football. It puts up big numbers. But because of the hash marks and because of the lack of quality defensive backs in college football, you can spread the field, put 4 and 5 receivers on the field, throw the ball sideways. But their lack of pass protection, their lack of competent reads down the field, if you take away the #1 read in this system, where does the ball go? Because typically the coach dictates where he wants the quarterback to throw the ball. That's why we were worried about Baker Mayfield last year. Would he be able to read out? Now, he was able to transfer over, understand NFL concepts, and use it to his advantage. That's the reason why answered. Will they put a competent running game? Can they be physical? Will they have enough different pass protections to protect that quarterback? And when the ball's in the middle of the field, which it is in the NFL games compared to college, you can't out-leverage guys to the outside. So I don't think it's going to work the way that it worked in college because I think the quarterback's going to get hit too much. That offensive line, worst in pro football last year. Kyler is coming from Oklahoma that had the best offensive line, pro football focus in college football.
And won the award for it. There's I forget the name of the award, but there's an award for the best 5-man offensive line in college
it's called
football.
We're Good.
Okay, sure. That's the official, the We're Good Offensive Line Award. And that is such an important point because when people talk about Kyler's height, in a defense, they're like, well, he didn't have hardly any balls batted down in college. Man, who bats down balls? Defensive linemen. You know when it's hard to bat down balls? When an offensive lineman has knocked you 3 yards back and you're falling backwards. You know when it's easier? When you are winning that battle and you are closer to the quarterback. So that's, yes, Kyler does have a good delivery. I'll trust you on that. It's something my eye can't quite see, but I believe you.
Straight over the top. Prototype.
But if the line of scrimmage is here, if your offensive line's winning the battle, now the defensive linemen are 6.5 yards away from you. If they're winning the battle, now they're 4 yards away from you or closer. So even if you're in the gun. So that is going to be different. That is my biggest concern for Kyler, aside from the height, and we've never seen someone succeed in the NFL at that position, at that height, is this will be the worst offensive line he's ever had in his football playing life. So we don't know how he's going to react to that. Also, this is going to be in comparison to his opposition the least talented team he's been on in his football playing life. Oklahoma wasn't playing a bunch of games where the opposition had more talent than them. They may have only played 2 or 3 all year where they had as much. Arizona last year was dead last in points scored, dead last in yards. They were bottom 6 in the NFL defensively. They were the 4th worst team in the plus-minus. So a great quarterback would be in a tough spot. A great veteran quarterback with Arizona. That's my a new, young, small, new system, new head coach. It just concerns me. You said this during the break, David Johnson got paid early and an enormous amount of money. His 2nd year in this league, he was great. And that Cardinals team was really good that year. He had 2,000 yards from scrimmage, 20 touchdowns. The next year, he broke his wrist, missed the whole season. And last year, he was mediocre at best. We can put that on the offensive line, but it's mostly the same offensive line is going to be run behind this year. He's going to have to be back to the guy he was in 2016 for Kyler to have a chance at surviving this
A couple guys from a throwing motion, if you want to look at him, look last year at Baker Mayfield. They throw very, very similar. Also look at Russell Wilson. All these guys are undersized. All of them have a very good throwing motion where the arm comes over the top. That does not make them shorter. Guys who throw, even if you're 6'5", if you throw sidearm, it's like you're 6'2" in the pocket. So I expect him to have success throwing the ball. He has an unbelievable cannon of an arm. Touch throws, but don't worry about the height thing as far as passes being batted. Last year at Oklahoma, only 5 passes batted. Daniel Jones, on the other hand, at Duke, 7 inches taller, has 7 more passes batted in college than Kyler did last year. 5 compared to 12, 7 inches height. He has 7 more batted down.
Good luck, Giants. Coming up, what does Mike Tomlin's new deal tell us about the Steelers' future? That's next on First Things First.